WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. One of the smartest things that our founding fathers did was they gave us freedom of the press.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was a smart move because, you know, with the freedom to write about the people who make the decisions about us, and in this country that would be the president and everything from there down to the dog catcher, I guess, although that guy doesn't make a whole lot of decisions. But it's the freedom of the press, I think, that really, really keeps everything in check. It's the checks and balances is what they always say with Congress and the Senate and all that, but the press is just as much a part of keeping everybody in line as anything else. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm talking about the wrong thing here. Veterans Day is Monday.
Yes.
I went to the wrong subject. I'm so sorry. But still true. It's still true. Let's see. We're going to express gratitude to our veterans. We had a story earlier today about a train line, right?
Yes.
That was going to stop at the 11th hour on the 11th day on Monday.
Exactly.
And blow their whistle as a way to thank our veterans. So I'm so sorry I was giving you the wrong intro there. Dr. Amanda Hunt is on the phone with Dr. Paul Rutecki. Dr. Amanda Hunt is the Portfolio Manager in the Office of Research and Development at the Department of Veterans Affairs. And Dr. Paul Rutecki is the National Director of the VA Epilepsy Centers of Excellence at the Department of Veterans Affairs. And they are speaking to us about expressing gratitude to veterans. We always do. Just about an hour ago, we had veterans in the studio for the veterans program that we do. Good morning, Dr. Hunt and Dr. Rutecki. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
And my apologies. I was reading the wrong thing. I don't really read the stuff. I just kind of look at it and then I make something up on the spot. But anyway, thank you for being there. Are you both veterans?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Nor am I.
Nor am I, nor is Robin.
No.
So we're expressing our gratitude toward other people who are veterans. Where are you guys located?
Well, I'm at VA headquarters in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And I'm in Madison, Wisconsin, in the VA hospital.
You're getting snow today, I heard, right? Or tomorrow, right?
Supposedly, yeah, it's supposed to come.
Yeah.
It's great.
The only reason we keep up with that is because that's where Robin is from.
Yeah.
So tell me about what the message is here. Expressing gratitude seems to be a no-brainer. I wouldn't do my wrong intro. That's because of veterans. If I didn't have freedom of the press, it would be because it was. You know what I mean? There is a way to connect that with what we're doing today, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So tell me what we need to know, and if there's a website maybe with this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so November is actually National Epilepsy Awareness Month, which is one of the reasons we're here. And November 11th is, of course, Veterans Day. And what's the link? Well, information about epilepsy is important to veterans because they're actually at a higher risk for developing epilepsy.
Really?
And some of that is due to in-field combat and the exposure to traumatic brain injuries, or TBIs, which can put you at a higher risk for epilepsy later in life.
I had no idea. I didn't realize epilepsy could be caused. I thought it was you either had it or you didn't.
You know, that is a really great question because there is a genetic component, and there's also factors that can give you epilepsy later on that's not genetic component.
Would the treatment for the person with the genetic epilepsy be treated the same way as the person who gets it from a brain injury?
That's a great question for Paul.
Yeah, they may. It really depends. So there are certain genetic epilepsies that have very specific treatments. So maybe some of you people know of absence seizures or epilepsy. That has a very specific treatment that works very well. It's an old drug, but it doesn't work for acquired injuries or acquired epilepsies that occur after brain injury. So
really?
There is some differential in treatment.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, and I apologize. Let's see, a post-traumatic stress disorder incident, an incident that might have caused the PTSD, would that memory trigger an epileptic seizure?
That's a great question because we don't know But what does happen is that many people who have had a life-threatening episode and have PTSD have symptoms that get confused with epilepsy sometimes. So there is an overlap, and even more so if at the same time there was a traumatic brain injury, which also increases the risk for epilepsy as well as PTSD. So they often travel, if you will, and are what we call comorbid. So it is a concern.
Are there studies going on where veterans can participate?
Oh, absolutely, yes. So we have 16 national centers of excellence in epilepsy across the United States, and we have a robust cohort of clinicians and researchers who are conducting research into the causes and treatments for epilepsy. We have a website, research.va.gov.
Okay.
And more specifically, epilepsy.va.gov. And you can look around there, see what studies are going on perhaps in your area. And, of course, if a veteran is interested, he or she should talk to their primary care physician at their VA medical center.
Is it possible to have a mild case of epilepsy? Could a spouse, let's say, for example, be listening right now and say, my gosh, I wonder if my husband or my wife has this. It almost looks like epilepsy maybe, but nobody's acknowledged it or actually diagnosed it?
Yeah, I think that's true, and actually what we call focal seizures or seizures that don't produce a full convulsion may manifest in very subtle fashions and may just be an abnormal sensation or brief episodes of blanking out, if you will, that could be caused by many, many other things like not getting enough sleep or so forth, but also could be related to ongoing epilepsy.
Are loud noises a trigger?
In some cases they are, probably more for PTSD, but there are some what we call reflex epilepsies where certain noises or lights can cause someone to have a seizure.
Yeah, when my son is now an adult and on his own, but when he was younger, he would watch or play video games. And I remember looking at the warning on the video games that said that it could trigger an epileptic seizure. Some of the video games, yeah. Wow.
There's a very interesting story in Japan. They had a Pokemon TV show, and I think something like 4,000 kids had a seizure because of the flashing lights.
Is that right?
Oh,
wow.
my gosh.
But not all of them went on to have epilepsy, but at least it can provoke seizures.
When a veteran feels that there might be something wrong with them and they call their local VA, how long does it take for them to be seen?
Well, ideally, they're seen as needed, and so if it's an emergency, they'd be seen right away. In terms of our current approach in the clinical side of the VA is trying to see people with an emergent situation as soon as possible, but certainly anywhere from a week to 30 days at most.
Are they aware that a seizure is coming on? Can they drive? Is an issue?
That's a great question. So they can drive provided their seizures are controlled with medication. And each state has its own laws regarding driving and epilepsy. So here in Wisconsin, we have one of the more liberal laws where you have to be 3 months without a seizure.
Oh, really?
I don't know what the law is in Florida offhand. I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
Are more women than men diagnosed with epilepsy?
As far as we know, the risks are pretty much the same. There are certain genetic conditions that occur only in men or women where there may be associated epilepsy. But by and large, in terms of acquired epilepsy, for instance, traumatic brain injury, particularly within the VA, one of my colleagues, Mary Jo Pugh, is studying that, and there doesn't seem to be a difference in incidence between men and women.
And could that be hereditary if the female veteran develops epilepsy and then she gets pregnant and has a baby?
Well, yeah, it's a great question. So anyone who has epilepsy and they have children, that child may be more likely to have epilepsy. That's a statistical analysis. It's not like inheriting blue eyes. So it's very polygenic, and it's really more of something you see within statistics than necessarily would involve any type of family planning. So it shouldn't be something that necessarily influences that, other than there is a small risk if you do have epilepsy that your child will. That risk may increase if there's a strong family history of epilepsy.
Wow.
Dr. Rutecki and Dr. Hunt, thank you both. Dr. Hunt, you gave us this website, research.va.gov.
Yes.
That's the best one?
Yes, indeed. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you both. And have a great holiday season.
Great. Thank
you
you.
too.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA.